Hi friends, I'm Walker and welcome back to All of Ave Nails, where we talk about vegan and cruelty-free nail polish. Today I have a comparison video. We're going to be looking at comparisons for the All of Ave Polish summer collection. This is the summer reading collection. If you don't know, this is my own brand, so I gifted these to myself in order to do this comparison series. And I have already done my live swatch and review, so if you're not familiar with my channel, I usually do a live swatch and review in kind of the traditional format, and then I come back and I do a color comparison video where I try to show you just how these polishes fit into my collection as a whole to give you a sense of if they might fit into yours. So I will link the swatch and review up above, but let's dive in and do some color comparisons for this collection. This collection does launch on May 17th at noon, and so I will list my website, the All of Ave Polish website, down below in the description box. Okay, first up we're going to look at Herbology, and this one is the Harry Potter inspired polish from this collection, so I know this one has a lot of fans out there. It is a kind of turquoise with a gold shimmer that is pretty strong, both in the bottle and on the nail. And I have two Zoyas that I want to compare it to. The first is ZUZA, which is kind of a more teal polish, I would say, with a similar strong gold shimmer. I would think it's a little bit finer than the one in Herbology, just by a hair, but you know, these two have fairly similar components. And then I have DILLON. DILLON is a little bit more of like a sea foamy green, and it has a similar shimmer, so I just want to show you this. I think that, you know, they're not going to look super close on the nails, but I just wanted to show you, you know, another one to give you a sense of how it compares. All right, so here they are. We have DILLON on my pointer, Herbology, ZUZA, and then Herbology over there again. And definitely none of these are exactly the same. I will say on one coat, I thought that DILLON and Herbology looked pretty close, but then when I built them up into, you know, that base color really builds up, it doesn't get quite as sheer, and I just think they look really nice. I don't know that I've ever worn DILLON, and pulling it out for this video makes me want to wear it because it's very pretty and very different from Herbology. So I hope that that helps you kind of figure out how this one might fit into your collection. Okay, next up is Palm Trees, and this one I'm describing as a bold jade cream, and I'm going to compare this one to Zoya's NESS and to Zoya's Josie. NESS is a little bit of like kind of a blue toned green. I don't know, Zoya might even use the word jade to describe this one as well, but I think you can see here in the bottles even that Palm Trees just has so much more blue in it. It's really not as green as these two are. And in case it's helpful, this one is Cecilia. So Cecilia is a bit deeper and a bit more blue, but it's not quite this like bright white-based like jade color that Palm Trees is. Similarly, here is Bevan, and I think that Bevan really is not quite the same, but I'll show you these three compared on the nails. All right, here we go. Definitely Ness is the closest because it has a little bit more of that blue in it, but I think you can tell that none of these are exactly the same, but I hope that gives you a little bit of a better sense of exactly what Palm Trees looks like. It's really hard to capture, I think, in photos because it is pretty bright, and it has a lot of that, I don't know, that white base, so I really love, I love all my greens, so I love all three of these, but Palm Trees is definitely different from the other two. Okay, next up is LYRA, and this one, honestly, is the one that I kind of grounded the whole collection in. When I first tried Kale Polish 305, which I'll pull in a second, I just knew that I wanted one that was similar, but a little bit less intense. So here's 305. And I love it. I love 305. It's so pretty, but it is really bright. It's a little bit softer than some of the other ones that I have like this, but it is pretty bright. And I just wanted one that was a little more yellow, a little bit softer, a little bit more delicate. I thought it would look better on my skin tone at least. And so LYRA kind of has been a polish that I wanted for a long time. And I was so excited when I, you know, just like tried this and it was exactly what I wanted. It was, yeah, it was like a dream come true. So this is 305, obviously from Kale Polish. This is no longer available. And then I also have a couple other kind of like, you know, brighter chartreusey greens. I have Hustle from Cirque Colors, which is clearly a beautiful chartreuse, but it's a bit more neon, a bit brighter. And then similarly, I have Pistachio, and Pistachio is from Palette Polish. It's definitely, again, a bit brighter, a bit more, not quite neon, but brighter. I would say Pistachio is a little bit more green, whereas Hustle is going to come across a little bit more yellow. So I'll show you all four of these on the nails. All right, so 305 is here. This is LYRA. This is Hustle, and this is Pistachio over here. And definitely LYRA is a little bit more softer, a little bit more delicate than these other ones. I am wearing 3 coats of LYRA here. I sometimes wear it in 3 and sometimes in 2. It just depends on my application, my patience, etc. But definitely it's a little bit softer, a bit more yellow than kind of any of these others. It is closest to 305. So if you have 305 and you aren't looking for something, you know, softer and more delicate, you may not need it. But I do think LYRA is pretty different from 305. I don't think that they're quite dupes. In some lights, like in lower lighting, they look a little bit closer, but I do think that LYRA is a bit more delicate, a bit softer. So yeah, that is LYRA. Okay, next up is Pumpkin. This one I'm describing as an apricot orange cream, and I have 3 other polishes to compare it to. This one is Arizona from Zoya, and it's definitely the closest, but I don't quite know how to describe it, but it looks like Pumpkin in the bottle is a little bit like deeper and richer. I feel like maybe on camera they're looking identical, but maybe on the nails we'll be able to see the difference. It's definitely slight. I mean, these are very similar oranges, but I do think Pumpkin is a little bit like brighter and bolder. And then I do have JANCYN, which I might be saying wrong, but I have JANCYN, which is a little bit more orange of an orange. I don't really know that I'm describing that well, but it's not quite as like white based and bright. It's a little bit deeper. I don't know that I would say that it's, you know, like muted by any means, but it's not quite as bright as Pumpkin. And then the other one that I have is THANDIE, and this one is definitely a little bit more kind of like of a red orange almost. It's not quite as kind of yellow, golden. So this one's not going to be super close, but I do just want to show it to you just to give you a sense of where it fits. I think that Arizona is going to be the closest, and I don't know. This one, JANCYN might get us a little bit close as well, but we shall see. All right, here we go. This is Arizona, Pumpkin, JANCYN, and THANDIE over here. And so definitely these two are not quite the right undertone. This one is a little bit more red, and I would say that JANCYN is a little bit, it's almost like muted out. It's not quite as like bright and almost like marigoldy as Arizona and Pumpkin are. I do have 3 coats of Arizona on, and I have a little bit of streakiness up here still. I tried to be very careful, but maybe I wasn't careful enough. But I have 2 coats of Pumpkin, I have 3 coats of JANCYN, and I have just 2 coats of Arizona. So this one is 3 coats. They definitely are super close. So if you are not a strong orange wearer and you own Arizona, you may not need Pumpkin. I do think, you know, Pumpkin is a little bit brighter. It's a little bit more, like it has more white in it, so it's got a little bit more life. I do think Arizona is a really bright orange, so you know, I like it, but it is 3 coats for me at least. So I really like Pumpkin. I mean, I'm biased obviously, but I do think that they're similar enough that you probably don't need both if you know, don't wear orange that often. If you are an orange lover though, I do think you'll be able to tell that Arizona is a little bit more muted out. It's not quite as bright and kind of like yellow leaning almost. And so if you are an orange lover, you'll be able to see the difference. I mean, I can see the difference, but I love wearing orange in the summer, so I'll leave this one up to you. All right, now we're gonna talk about CRAKE. This one is such a hard one to describe. I'm calling it a bold coral red cream. I do think coral red is the right way to go. It is such a unique red in my collection. It has a little bit of pink. It's like a kiss of a pink. I almost decided to call it a salmon, but it's not quite salmon. So I have a variety of things to compare here. First up, I have ELODIE, which in the bottle looks very close. It's a little bit kind of brighter and a little bit maybe more coral. I don't know how to describe it. Where these two are definitely going to differ is on formula. ELODIE is a lot more juicy and kind of like jelly-y. I chipped my bottle. I don't know how that happened. But anyways, CRAKE is a bit more white-based, so it's definitely a creamier polish. It's going to be super opaque in 2 coats, whereas ELODIE, I think, you know, you could build it up in 3 coats and still get a little bit of a juicy finish. And then I have Cara, and Cara is, again, I think just going to look a little bit more coral, like it's going to be a little bit more of that orange color than we're going to get from CRAKE. CRAKE is going to pull a little bit more red and not quite as coral. I do also have HEIDI, which is another of Zoya's orange corals. HEIDI's here on the end, and boy, all 3 of these really look similar here, huh? I have done a comparison of Zoya's orange coral, so I'll link that up above if you want to see it. Heidi is going to be a little bit closer to CRAKE probably. I think it's going to be a little bit closer in formula because it's a little bit more opaque. So maybe it's going to pull a little bit more orange. That's what it looks like here on camera, but we'll see on the nails. You kind of never know. All right, so I'm leaving Heidi over here. I did just want to pull in Virginia. I think I describe Virginia as like a red coral kind of because it's a little bit of like a pinky red, but it's just, I don't know, you'll see. It looks pretty different from CRAKE. So definitely CRAKE is not quite as red as this one. All right, here we go. So these ones are kind of hard to get the camera to pick up the differences, especially between these guys. So I'm kind of trying to turn my camera so that it gives you the most accurate picture of CRAKE here. So I would go check out my orange comparison video if you want to see more about these polishes. But here's ELODIE, and it's in 2 coats here. You can see it's a little bit squishy, a little bit more transparent. CRAKE is also in 2 coats. And then here I have Heidi right next to it on my ring finger, and then Cara down here. And I definitely, you know, Heidi and Cara are pulling a bit more kind of like that orangey coral color, and CRAKE is coming off a little bit more red to my eye. Maybe it's just a different kind of orange. Not sure, but you can really see kind of how much of that white base is in CRAKE, whereas I think all 3 of these actually look like pretty juicy in comparison. So hopefully that helps you figure out where CRAKE fits into your collection. Okay, and last but certainly not least, we're gonna look at Faye. This is a kind of medium pink with that silver shimmer in here. And I have a couple polishes to compare this to, but nothing that's like really identical. So I have Azalea from Zoya, which has that same kind of, well, not the same, but has a similar kind of silver shimmer in here, but it's a little bit more of like a muted out pink. And then I have Kiki, which has kind of a combination of like a blue and a silver shimmer, but definitely the pink base in here is a bit more blue. It's not quite as kind of rich and deep as I would say Faye is. And then the last one I'm gonna pull in just for fun is Cadence. This is one of their scattered holographic polishes, so I don't think it's gonna look super close, but it's pretty, and I thought it would look nice in a manicure with these 3 other ones. So let me show you these on the nails. All right, here we go. So this is Azalea, Faye, Kiki, and Cadence. And Cadence obviously looks super different, but it's pretty fun. And I think here on the nails you can really see how blue Kiki is compared to Faye, and how, you know, Azalea is maybe the closest of these 3, but it definitely has a little bit more of that kind of like metallic almost finish. It's not metallic, but it just has a lot denser of that glitter. And I would say the base color is pretty different from Faye. So yeah, that's Faye. All right, awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am wearing Faye on my nails right now in case you couldn't tell. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that it gave you some sense of how these polishes might fit into your collection. Again, I will list the website down below if you want to check it out. And if you like this video, feel free to hit subscribe so that we can sit down and hang out and chat about nail polish again sometime. Awesome. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.